Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to day 5 of the July Painting Challenge. And today was a lot of, well, we'll just call it filler. Okay, so as you can see, not much, not very impressive in terms of the miniatures done. It was a lot of sort of terrain and smaller bugs and that kind of stuff for a mix of Mythic Battles Pantheon and then some stuff from Fantasy World games. But it does kind of lend to the question of the day, you know, how do you keep yourself motivated? I actually have a separate answer for that today, but this is one thing, one strategy I do when I'm, you know, going at big projects and that kind of thing is, like today was kind of an off day for me. Like I didn't really feel like doing like intense painting, so it was just smaller stuff, but you attack the least interesting stuff first when you're working on a big job. That's normally what I do, and you give yourself some motivation that, yeah, okay, they're just little columns, nothing too special there, but I'll show you what kind of motivation this can do for you. All right, so here's kind of what I mean by like just getting them build up on your small victories, right? Like just go and get that W. As you can see, this is what I painted for this trade today, and it's not much, but as you can see, it causes a clean spot is what I call it, right? You've got a painted spot in here, and now you got a little bit of motivation to continue to rack up your wins. And so you might go after the stuff that, you know, the next least favorite stuff and work your way towards, you know, the really fun stuff. And then by the time you're at the end, you know, you're working on super fun projects, and that way you get to end on a really high note. Your painting is going to get a lot better, especially if you're not familiar with a particular range. You start small and build your way to that end point, because you want to save your best painting for the best sculpts. You don't want to. A lot of people, they'll paint the best ones first, and then they won't have any motivation to do the rest of this stuff. I work the other way. Start with the stuff that you like the least and work your way to the stuff you like the most, because you know, like stuff like this is why you bought, you know, this Kickstarter in the first place, is why you wanted this in the first place, is for these really good sculpts, so you know you're going to paint them. If you only paint them, if you paint those first, you will pretty much only paint those. You might get a little frustrated, you might get a little bored, and so all of this stuff won't get hit. So anyways, that's one strategy you can use to finish projects or to continue to motivate yourself to paint. And I'm going to get into a more specific answer, a more contemporary answer for how you might motivate yourself to continue to paint. Okay, so on to the question of the day. The question is, how do you keep yourself motivated to paint? And that is the most difficult question, I believe, in the entire challenge. In fact, that is the reason why we have a channel called Play It Painted, because for me to explain what keeps me motivated to paint is like a full-time job. It's like what this channel is all about. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to cut it down to one of 24 answers I would have, and this one has to do, frankly, with current events, with COVID-19. I'm just going to answer it specifically this year because, hey, we've been in lockdown. Many of us have been in lockdown for a long time now. I was only in lockdown for about 2 weeks myself, was able to come back to work. But on so many levels, painting was such a big deal, and it got me through a lot of the more difficult early times in this pandemic. So, you know, during a lockdown, during this kind of thing, you know, I spent a lot more time reading up on philosophy and working on self-improvement. And you would be amazed at how much philosophy and self-improvement ties into hobby, and how much hobby is promoted in philosophies like Stoicism, which I follow closely, and Ikigo, and all kinds of stuff that tell you to go out and create, not just to sit back and consume media, but really create, be a part of things, do something creative and productive each day, and make yourself better doing that. And painting was a big part of that for me. So painting, getting better at painting, getting productive is what I set out to do. And I took account of what I painted back in March it was like from the time that the pandemic started to sometime in like May, I completed over 300 miniatures, and each year I paint around 500, between 500 and 600 miniatures a year. So that's an astounding amount of production. You can see all the pictures going by from miniatures that I painted. Now, if you follow this slideshow and the one that I put in, I think day 3 or whatever, you'd have almost everything I painted during the pandemic. Another thing I would point out too is that most of this is commission work. So there's a lot of money, folks. I'm not going to lie. Like, maybe you think that's a shallow reason or something, but dude, that's a great thing to be able to do during a pandemic when a lot of people don't have their livelihood intact and looking to make a buck. Now, for me, luckily, like I said, I was only out of the office for a couple of weeks, and so, knock on wood, I've remained employed, but it's good to have that extra money, right? It's good to have that little extra something to help cover in case of emergencies and that sort of thing. So that's been a big boost. But again, it's really about sort of just having that discipline, setting goals for yourself, making and just striving to be a better person each day. In addition to the pandemic, so much is going on in our world today, and things are just getting so volatile and so damaging that you get out of this either better or worse, and I want to get out of it better. And so painting is one of those things. It's one of those outlets that's going to be a positive for me. It's going to be a positive for my family. And like I said, man, just play it painted. Like, just keep it alive. So thanks everyone for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.